handout as you guys walk out. This is the actual, as you guys are looking out of the Lion's Pride Inn. This is actually what you see. You see lots of people, showing off their spells and, you know, dueling, and you can see a couple posts down on the ground of showing their family heritage and their banners as they're kind of sparring with one another. Oh, mercy. All these crazy little flashes that I have in my mind. This is just how I'm putting it into a game. It's crazy. I know it is, but just go with me. Go with me.
I was wondering, Dave,
Sure.
do zero level spells work the same as in Pathfinder? As in they are cantrips?
No, actually they're different, and that's one thing that I noticed because I thought they were cantrips as well, but no, they're actually considered zeros in this game.
Fair enough.
But you have 3 spells, so you have 3 first level spells. So I mean, you're gonna have plenty of spell power.
If Vixen could look you square in the eyes, he would look you square in the eyes and say, "That's still not enough."
That's what every mage says.
But I
Especially
am just no ordinary mage. I am Vixen.
Alright, so I guess you guys are going to head off towards Stone Cairn Lake.
Come, friends, let us sort out this problem.
Alright, so you guys leave, you finish eating. Toby tells you that when you get back to Goldshire that you'll all have rooms here at the Lion's Pride Inn, and that you're more than welcome to stay, and it's already been taken care of by Marshal Dughan. So you guys head out of Goldshire, you start traveling east along the road, and you come by Crystal Lake. You see several people out there fishing. You see a couple night elves out wandering with where they're training their, it looks like they're little companion pets of sort of like a black panther. They're out training them how to fetch people, and they're shooting their bows, and you can also see several people out logging, and then you come up to a tower, and this is what I have a handout for the tower, and it is along the road as well, and this is the Tower of Azora. Remember this tower that was on the top of that hill, where you could actually mine all the copper nodes around the hill that it actually sits on. But that is the Tower of Azora.
I hated that quest line. Run out to the tower, run back. Run out to the tower, run back.
Well, you guys know, especially you, Bixen, you know that there is a sort of like I don't want to say a crazy mage. He's not known as being a crazy mage, but I believe his name was Theocritus. I think that's what his name was. And he was basically part of the Stormwind Army at one time. And you would know this because, you're a mage, and that's what you studied. And Theocritus is pretty much lives in confinement now. He does have some servants, but he loves his clothes. He loves his robes. That's what you definitely remember of him in your studies.
I never liked crazy wizards anyway.
That is the Tower of Azora, and that's on your way as well. And you see several bears, as you're passing by the lake, and then you come to the bridge, and there's actually a guard at the bridge. He salutes you as you walk by, and then you make it to the Eastvale logging camp, and you also have Marshal Dughan had given you a map as well that had the location of the Stone Cairn Lake, because none of you have been there before, but you do have the locale that's located on the map. Now I have one more handout for you as well. I'm a handout monster today. So this is as you're starting to approach the logging camp. There it is right there. This picture isn't too big, but you can squint your eyes and see that's actually the real Eastvale logging camp. That's a screenshot from someone. And you guys start to you head into the Eastvale logging camp. There's really no military presence here as well. Just a bunch of humans walking around saying "more work." Remember that? You'd click on those damn loggers out there, and they'd say, "What? More work?" So, there you go. And then you see what appears to be possibly a supervisor. He's out there kind of pointing around and, sending one guy off to do something. And there you go. You're at the Eastvale logging camp.
Vixen likes people who point and do things.
Yeah, we'll head up to the foreman.
I know you guys are just wanting to kill these goddamn Merlocks. I know you are.
I can already smell them roasting the Merlocks.
Those slimy little things.
Well, we'll head up and just ask him where the Merlocks are, because we want to kill them. Oh no. Like where are these Merlock attacks happening from? And
so you walk up to the guy that's barking out all of the orders, and he introduces himself as Supervisor Raylan, and he does oversee all operations here at the logging camp. And as you guys are looking around, you can see a couple prototypes that are built of like a ballista, a trebuchet, a massive ram with like it looks like something that, especially you, Garn, it looks like a huge ram head on the front of this massive log that seems like it has about 30 different positions on each side that just swings and would just bash the door down. So it kind of makes you think of back home, back in Ironforge, because that's definitely what the dwarves would use.
Is it dwarven engineering? Yeah.
The ram is definitely dwarven engineering, but is basically just a prototype to where they're building these, because something's definitely big happening in Blackrock Mountain. So there's massive preparations going on for this. So Supervisor Raylan tells you that they're starting to have a problem with a lot of supplies, just basic supplies, blades, saws, a lot of nails, a lot of things. A lot of glue vats are turning up missing, and actually a couple of the loggers as well several days ago were missing, and they haven't been back since.
Can I say as an aside to Garn, Grobika would like to tell Garn, it might be possible we can get some extra gold out of these guys. They look pretty desperate.
Good idea. I like that.
What do you have in mind, Grobika? He hears gold and his eyes light up a bit.
Well, I figure, if we are able to bring them back the bane of their troubles, then perhaps they'll pitch a little our way, above and beyond the required as a Stormwind recruit.
I think we can do that.
I nod to Garn and kind of tilt my chin towards the guy and come on Garn, you can do this.
I'm nudging forward with my stick.
Garn there? Hello, Garn?
Yeah?
Oh, Grobika has great faith in you, Garn. I'm sure you can convince them that we are worth the gold.
Vixen takes his stick and he nudges Garn with it ever closer to the foreman.
Nice.
Checking skills here, guys. Hang on.
He's gonna do a skill check.
Oh, not with my charisma.
Fine.
I'll is it possible to do some kind of diplomacy check?
I would say diplomacy for sure.
I've got a +5. Maybe Grobika should do it.
Nah, the dwarf kind of goes, I've got this.
Okay.
Got this.
I appreciate your competence in this matter. Dwarf.
So, oh god, here we go.
Nice. Because I'm sure we'll work something out. I'm sure I could have a little care package ready to go for you. Just make sure you take care of those damn Merlocks, because they really are being a nuisance. They were just on the lake. We never had a problem with them, but now they literally have multiple encampments around the lake. It's starting to become a nuisance. And I'd like to find my lumberjacks. Those guys are great, and now my production's going to start suffering because of it.
Well, they won't be a problem after today.
All right. Well, you make sure you try to find Neil and Bob. So Neil and Bob are out there, and I hope that Neil and Bob are all right. Neil and Bob.
If they're okay, we'll bring them back.
Fucking Neil and Bob. What the hell? Unbelievable. Way to go, Dave.
Is there any indication as to why the Merlocks have suddenly risen? Any new Merlockphonians amongst them that have been rallying the troops?
That is a good question, and if you could find out and let me know, I would be most appreciative. I live here at the logging camp. My family's here, and I don't ever leave this place, and I don't even know this answer, and that's what's so mind-boggling about this whole situation. I mean, I've been here for almost 5 years, and we've never had a problem with the Merlocks, but now all hell's broken loose.
Can I make a knowledge local check to see the problem with these Merlocks?
Sure, you can do a knowledge check, local check. You really don't. You know that they're led by King Mergle, but that's about it. It's one of the tribes from King Merle.
Surely.
I guess that's how you would pronounce it in Merlock. I don't know.
So I'm quite certain he's probably heard of something. I have a gather information skill. Is there any inkling that I can gather from him, or maybe he knows someone in the encampment that knows more?
As of why the Merlocks are kind of expanding out from the island?
Or maybe their localized source, like maybe they're on the south end of the island, and that's probably the best, where to start. It's a pretty big island for being a small island.
Yeah, well, and there's actually there's sort of like a, Stonehenge. Well, you know that there's those Stonehenge stones out there as well, and that's basically where they've always been. But now, basically, he takes your map and he draws a couple X's on the map, and he tells you that there's 2 camps that are pretty much between Stone Cairn Lake and Eastvale Logging Camp, and it's right on the coast. So you can see those 4 rocks right below the island. It's between that last rock and the mountains themselves. So that's basically the 2 massive camps, and he says that they have a couple small towers and tents, and actually he was out there early this morning, and he could actually swear that he saw some of his crates and barrels and boxes out there. So it's not like they're trying to be inconspicuous. Yeah, on the east side. Yeah. See on the little map that we have here. Now, right under the island there, if you go across the water, there's those 4 stones, and those 4 rocks there. The last rock on the right hand side, there's 2 camps between that last rock, correct, and this point. So there you go. Thanks for pinging. I could have done that, but I just didn't think of doing it. So
Thanks.
But yeah, there's 2 camps between these 2 points, and he says that there's a couple other camps as well that are on the very northern side of the lake, but those have been there for quite a long time, and usually they're abandoned and nothing's there. But these two new camps that have popped up on that eastern shoreline, that's. Do you think that's probably where the problem's coming from?
Fabulous. You've been most helpful.
I'd like to ask the foreman for the best way to reach those camps securely.
Sure. Actually, you can just he just points right on the other side of the logging camp, and you can see that there's a lot of cut down trees. There's a lot of piles of wood, and he says you can just follow the mountains, and just keep the mountains on your right hand side. It's about a 5-10 minute walk, and you can't miss it. You'll see it right there. Thank you very much, Gentax.
I want to thank the man for his time, and
for your follows.
We're going to go take a look at the camps.
The Siege and Gentax, thank you for the follows, guys. I appreciate it. All right. But yeah, you definitely, you're loving that. Garn's definitely loving that ram. You're just kind of reminiscing. Yes. Ironforged dwarven technology at its finest. As he takes a puff of his pipe.
Oh, those dwarves and their contraptions.
Yeah. All right, so
the night elf rolls his eyes. Let's go.
So what do you guys actually want to do? As in, before you get to the camp, do you want to just kind of head there and just start bashing? I know that's what you guys want to do.
I would like to get as close as possible, just to see like numbers and stuff before we.
Sure, like a little reconnaissance, right?
Run it. Yeah.
I would love to be stealthy about this and kind of sight it out.
That's an excellent plan. We need to ready our weapons as well.
So, if I could stealth up there with, I'd say my ranged weapon in hand would probably be a good call.
Sounds good.
Yeah. I suppose they aren't too smart. Anyone else pretty stealthy and want to back me up, or am I flying solo?
Before you go up there,
Mr. Chainmail's not
I just
going
want
to
to
be able
give
to
you
help.
something. Here, it's a lucky charm, in which he just hands a stick.
Rabbit's foot.
Just a stick.
He just grabs the stick off the ground. Nice.
Yep.
I accept the stick, glance at him strangely, and pack it away in my pack.
I will stealth with her.
Alright, so you guys are kind of looking down on it's probably early afternoon, probably equivalent to about 2 or 3 p.m. You guys follow the contour of the mountains, and you find a pretty good vantage point. It's where you're kind of looking down, and you can see that there are 2 encampments. And there's one that's a little bit closer to you, probably about right here on the map. And then there's another one that is further away, which is basically right there. And the Merlocks are kind of running around. They just are walking, and all of a sudden just go into a flat out run, a sprint, and then they just stop and kind of walk around for a little bit. They're crazy. They're sketchy, and you can hear them, gurgling, and they're praying to the little shrines that they have there under their tents, and the numbers that you see, there's really not a lot of them. There's only 5. Now, however, you do see as you're kind of looking around, because these two camps are pretty close together. At the camp furthest away, you can actually see what appears to be maybe an iron cage with possibly a couple individuals in it.
I nudge Grubika on the side and say, when they make that gargling sound, that sounds just like the dwarf after a few drinks.
Ouch. After a few drinks.
I think you may be onto something there.
Anyway, can you see those 2 lumberjacks anywhere in the camp.
Yeah, am I able to, from my vantage point, see if there's anyone in those iron cages that might fit a description of Neil and Bob?
Oh, Jack.
Neil and Bob. I needed 2 names real quick, and I'm like, Neil and Bob, I guess.
Too bad it wasn't Jay. Jay and Bob.
Oh, Jack.
Ah, Jay and Silent Bob, huh? Oh.
Mmm.
It does look like there are 2 humans in the cages.
Vixen is going to say to Gravick, look with your special eyes.
Oh, Vixen, it does look like they've got our 2 menfolk out there. I think that's enough to bring in the forces. I think we can bring them back.
You grab one of the wanted posters, or there's a couple wanted posters of Neil and Bob, and they're, stick figure type of portraits that are sketched on them, and you gotta hold it up, and you're on. Yep, that's them.
How many Morlocks are guarding the cage, or are they guarding the cage?
There's 2 Merlocks down at the camp that's further away, and then there's 3 Merlocks at the camp that's closer to you. And they've got a couple fires going. There's a fire going at each camp, and so there's a little bit of smoke. It looks like they're probably cooking something. Probably looks like there's sort of like a string of fish over the fire. They've got there's a total of 5 tents. There's three tents at the camp that's closer to you, and then there's 2 tents, a couple lookout towers, and the cage that's at the camp farther away from you. Well, that is farther away from you, sorry.
No one on the lookout towers?
Yeah, is there anyone up on those towers?
There at the camp closer to you, yes, there is 1 Merlock that is on the tower. He's on and these towers aren't, they're not like the Tower of Azora. They're not a massive. It's sort of like a little wooden platform that's up on stilts, basically, is what it is. Probably about 4 to 5 feet up in the air. The same platforms that are out there. Yeah, that they actually have, and if you go out to like Crystal Lake or Stone Cairn Lake, they have these little wooden platforms out there, and that's basically what they are.
Hey, I'd like to watch them for a little bit and see if I can't get a good feeling for what areas they're most likely to be watching from to determine the best direction to come into the camp from.
Well,
those camps are
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry about that, sis.
Those camps are seemingly larger than just the 6 Murlocs that we see. Where might the others be?
That's a good question. You can actually see quite a bit of activity on the island itself. With, many more camps. There's probably 15 or 20 different batches of tents that are around this Stonehenge that basically encompasses the center part of the island. And you can see on the map where those actually, post and lintel type of, structures are actually forming the circle around the center of the island. And there's a lot of camps on that lake, and there's lots of plumes of smoke coming up from campfires. And it smells like rotten fish as you get, as you start to get closer to these 2 camps. It smells like rotten fish. But the best vantage point to maybe getting the surprise on these Merlocks, as you guys are scoping them out, it doesn't look like they're really expecting anything. They're not trying to be secretive about anything. I mean, for Christ's sake, there's a cage out there on the shore of the lake, and it seems like they're just going around, going about their business. Actually, doesn't look like they're. They do all carry they're carrying like pouches on their belt, but none of them have any weapons. Although you do know of Murlocs as having vicious claws and a very toxic type of bite.
Hey,
Not
my
the
friend.
best of pets.
Definitely not. Unless you can get the little vanity one that carries the BlizzCon flag. But other than that, that's it. But
That may be stupid, but I say, be silent and quick. silence them efficiently. We do not want any more trouble than we can afford.
Vixen, I was thinking the same thing. I would like to find a way to lure them and pose it for a sneak attack, actually. So if you're thinking we can draw them away from the site of the island on the lake and then clobber them good and hard?
I think I can help with that.
You are the sneaky one, aren't you?
You estimate the travel time between, for you as a human, you know that Merlocks do travel well in water, but you think that it would probably take even a Merlock probably a couple minutes to get across that lake. That's if they did try to flee across the lake and alert anyone. But you honestly really think that you could possibly get the edge on them because of the vantage point that you have. And I mean, you're really close to, you're probably 40, 50 feet away, and they don't detect anything. They're just kind of murgling and gurgling, and you notice exactly. You see a couple of them trying to go up and snatch a fish off the fire, but you see one of the Merlocks keep slapping their hands away from the fish as he's like kind of rotating it on the rotisserie as he's kind of spinning it with a handle.
Vixen, I think we've got all the information we need. We should probably return back to the other two before they come looking for us.
Cataroth, an
Yes,
X trip
I can
point.
explain everybody to the
X,
plan
thank you
to
for the follow.
everybody.
Cataroth, an X trip point. Thank you for
And
the
that's
follow,
what we'll do.
guys.
Trust me.
Welcome
We'll
to the
rejoin
community.
our group and explain what we saw. We saw the 5 Merlocks. There's 2 camps. The one that's closest to along the mountains has 3 of the Merlocks and a bunch of tents. There's 2 in the further one, and I was able to spot a cage in the further of the 2 camps. And it looks like it has our 2 boys, Neil and Bob. So I
Neil
think,
and Bob.
Vixen, you were going to say that we could probably get a good sneak attack on them?
Oh yes, I have a great plan.
The one in the tower's gonna have to die first.
Depending on
What?
how stupid these Merlocks are, I think I have a way to lure them out, or at least lure some of them out.
Murlocs are pretty stupid, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Throw
I will
a
use-
stone.
if you would permit, I would use my magical talents to use ghost sound and replicate some Merlock calls to draw them from their camp, if they take the bait.
Very nice. I
A
love
Murloc distress call.
Yes, exactly.
Or a mating call.
Oh, they might like that one.
That's the mating call. Be careful.
They'll come running.
it. That gets you every goddamn time, guys. That damn mating call from the Murlocs.
I will try to replicate the Merlock mating call away from their camp in your position, and you will strike from the rear.
Oh, this is
Please,
fun.
don't go too deep.
Unless someone has a better idea. I would love to just see the little gnome go off and fulfill his part of the plan.
The bait. That's
The
fine
bait.
by me.
Dress up the gnome as a little miniature,
Dress the dragon to the hula.
dress them up as a sheep or something and let them go out there and graze. See if they notice.
Hey,
Dress
hey,
them up
hey.
as a little miniature lumberjack and send them out. Molwook, Malwack.
Okay.
Alright. Well, I will set myself up at the designated ambush.
And we're obviously
It's
hiding
crazy.
behind trees, weapons drawn, ready for
Sounds good. You guys are
bloodshed.
all hidden. You guys are all piled behind a real large tree that hasn't been chopped down yet. Actually, there's like a piece of parchment that's kind of spiked to it, and it says, "Do not touch this tree."
Hey Dave, I got a question for you.
Sure.
I'm not as familiar with Condit on this.